In my opinion, there is no excuse for a dealership to deliver a car, especially a Tesla, that is not connected to the internet, that is an older version of the software. Look, I know we're all in business, you want to make some money, but you've got to service your clients. You have to. And honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed in Tesla as well, because you can't turn on dog mode for Bailey. And she's more upset than I am. I mean, you can't turn on dog mode from the iPhone app? What the heck? In this car, no connectivity to run any of the apps remotely. So putting on, let's just say, you know, the heating or the cooling really doesn't work. And also the maps that my wife, when she tried to come home from Coral Gables, she was unable to run the maps. So we've got some issues here, folks, we need to sort out. Not super happy. Hello and welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where today we're going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly as what I've experienced with my new Model S. New to me because it's a 2018 Model S 100D. So as I take my little pup Bailey out for a walk this morning, I'm thinking about what have I experienced with this new Model S. I'm going to be sharing it with you today. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the ride. So I say we go take a little drive and talk about some of the things that I have found out about this car. First, I'd like to start with the spec. This is a 2018 Model S, one of the most refined cars. I mean, let's not forget this car came out in 2012, and it's been through so many different iterations in terms of software, in terms of motors, in terms of technology that looks the same to the untrained eye, but boy, has this car really evolved over the years. This particular car is a base. It has the base autopilot firmware. It has a GPS enabled HomeLink system. It's got the cream seats, which I love, beautiful. I love the white seats. I don't like the black seats. I had a 2013 P85 Plus, same color as this, which is the midnight silver metallic, but it had the black leather seats. And arguably this car has got way fewer creaks and rattles, and it's just a better build quality, something that is, maybe you can't point exactly why that's the case, but in intangibles, it's definitely a better built car than my 2013 was in so many different ways. The car itself has no premium interior. I'm not quite sure what that means. Perhaps maybe at that time in 2018 they had a little bit of an upgrade on the interior. It's a dual motor all-wheel drive car that supposedly does 0 to 60 in, I think, under 4 seconds. We'll have to check that out. So we're going to do a 0 to 60 here. We're going to turn AC off. We're in low suspension. We have no regen on, and we're going to launch it. Off we go. But it's a very solid, heavy, wide, stately vehicle, and if it does 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, that's pretty good, real good. It's got supposedly around 330 miles of range. I think that it's probably had some degradation because this car is we've got just under 65,000 miles. Again, this is out of warranty now in terms of the bumper-to-bumper warranty, but the motor and the battery is still under warranty for up to 100,000 miles, and I think 8 years, something like that. It's got the glass roof, which I love, and it doesn't have the spoiler on the back. That's all right. I don't need a spoiler. I don't know. Does that make you go faster? It's got the 19-inch slipstream wheels. My P85 Plus which charged like horribly, in terms of speed. That had the 21-inch wheels, turbine wheels, I think they called them, maybe. So I'm happy that this has the 19s for two reasons. Number one, better ride, and number two, better range as well. It's got pay-per-use supercharging, which I can tell you at 58 cents a kilowatt hour here in Naples, Florida, it's not that much cheaper to charge this electric vehicle than it is at a supercharger than it is to buy gas. And so that's something we got to talk about. This actually has the NVIDIA Tegra MCU1. I think this car was built in February of 2018. And in March of 2018, they started rolling out, I believe, not the AMD system, but I think the Intel Atom system, the MCU2s. It does have the Autopilot Computer 2.0, which is great, and I'm happy about that. So anyway, that's really the spec of this car. The software that's on it is I think it was something like 10 months old, or maybe even longer. So it didn't have the latest software when I actually got the car, but yeah. So that's really the spec. So the way I'd like to structure this video is in three categories. What's good about this car? The good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start, because I'm such a positive guy, let's start with the good. First of all, like I mentioned before, car is solid. The ride is great. It feels quick. The air suspension works on it. It's got a smooth ride. It is a gorgeous car. I mean, just look at this thing. It's a beauty, both inside and out. The interior seats are in great condition, and I'm very happy with the overall look and feel. It's good to be back in a Model S. It's just, I don't know. It's just so nice. It really is. It doesn't pull one side or another when you're going down the road. It's always tricky, especially when you buy a used car. You know, you got to work through, it's a process. You got to work through things. Sometimes they're small things, sometimes they're big things. The brakes feel good. The tires, I got new tires from the dealer, so thank you for that. I am missing one lug nut cover. No big deal. I thought it was actually the lug nut itself. Somebody pointed that out. They saw one of my other videos. They're like, Dave, are you missing it? What a great eye. Thank you. So whoever did that, thank you so much. But I looked at it this morning, and it was just the lug nut cover. So I'll order that on Amazon later today, and get that. One of the things I said to Kathy, when you go pick up the car, make sure the headlights work, the low beams, the high beams, the brake lights, the turn signals, and also make sure the door handles work, because I know that at least on my 2013, that was a notorious problem where the door handles, that when you auto approach, or when you approach the car with the key fob in your pocket, the door handles present themselves and say, welcome to your new ride. But on my 2013, two of the door handles just didn't work, and they had to be completely replaced. Of course, that car was 100% out of warranty, and that was not cheap to fix. So in any event, these four door handles, they all work. The car has dog mode, which I guess we're going to talk about that. It's got a huge frunk, right? So nice coming out of the Ioniq 5. I kept my cable up there. I kept the battery jumper up there, a few different things, a little first aid kit. But the frunk on this car, I mean, we're not talking lucid large, but we're talking it's usable for sure. And it's nice having a big frunk back, even though I don't use it all that often. It's just peace of mind, I think, more than anything else. The vehicle is large. You forget how big this Model S is, as far as it being a giant hatchback. It's got the auto open and auto close motor for the rear lift gate. I do hear a tiny little clicking noise coming out of the right-hand side. I think that's par for the course for Tesla. The fact that it's still working is a very good thing. The paint condition, it's in excellent shape, except a couple of spots here and there, but that's to be expected. I think the car was represented properly to me in terms of the overall condition. The salesperson at my dealership was very communicative. I had a good overall experience with respect to that. He sent me pictures of the car. I was up in Connecticut. I bought it remotely. Wheels look great. There's one nick. They have to be new wheels. I bought it in Miami, Florida, or Coral Gables, but I'm pretty sure this car, clean Carfax, this car lived its life in, let's head over to Goodland. Check out Stan's, my favorite place on a Sunday, except they're closed in the summertime. I don't know, Sunday's fun day at Stan's. For those that know, I'm going over there. I'm going to have some fun anyway, even if I'm just with my car and my dog. So, yeah, so the wheels, I think the car lived in Ohio prior to being, I think it was bought at an auction by the dealership. You know, look, dealerships buy cars to flip them and make money. But as you'll start to see the theme in this video, third-party resellers of Teslas, you've got to really know what you're doing if you're going to buy a Tesla from not either a friend or someone that you can actually test drive the car. I bought the car remotely, found it on the internet. I think it was cars.com. And I asked my wife to go over and pick it up on my behalf. She had her Macan down here for the summer, and I'm up in Connecticut working. And, you know, this dealership really worked very well with me. They gave me a tremendous value for her Macan. As a matter of fact, they matched the value that I was getting from both Carvana and Vroom. Driveway.com was a little bit off the mark, and I've heard patchy things about them in terms of the timeliness for them. But what was great was the fact that I found a 100E. I didn't want a 75 pack. I'd rather keep my Ioniq 5 because I wanted a car with more range. The GV60 with the 21s and the Kathy's new car. My wife Kathy, for those that don't know, we just took delivery of a Genesis GV60 all electric car, and the range on that is not great. You know, I mean, it's okay. It's EPA rated range 230. In the wintertime, you're going to get, on the highway, you're going to get 200 miles on that. Not a great road tripper for our needs. So I was really looking for a road tripper that could get at least 300 miles. Maybe I don't need the Lucid Grand Touring 500 plus miles, but sure is nice to have that kind of range. So this car with the range of 330, at least new, and you know, it was very appealing to me. You know, back to the dealership for a moment. The finance guy that I was dealing with was very, as I said, communicative. We did all the paperwork remotely. Then my wife went and filled out the paperwork and picked up the car. She traded in the Macan, and because they gave her the same amount of money that Carvana and or Vroom were going to give her, we had the tax savings. Now in the state of Connecticut, where I'm registering this car, any car that's over $50,000 as a sales price, the tax is 7.75% for the entire purchase price. However, if you trade a car in on a car, whether it's new or used, you only pay tax on, of course, the difference. But if the difference is under 50,000, then you only have to pay 6.35%. So the value of them matching the amount of money that they were giving on the Macan was really a strong value. Nothing super out of the ordinary in terms of what the dealership was giving, but it was the combination of the sales, the credit on the Macan, plus the avoidance of paying tax that was about $4,000, a little more than $4,000 tax savings. And so it was a great deal, right? So from an economic standpoint, great deal, good looking car. Solid so far from a driving perspective. Awesome. I love it. And you know, the dealer's going to get me remote plates, and everything's going to be good about that. Now, let's shift gears to, let's call it category number 2, the bad. When Kathy picked up the car, now she's driven Teslas for a long time, but she's been out of a Tesla for a while, and she didn't really know what she was doing. My salesman was out the day she picked up the car. He arranged for an alternative salesperson to deliver the car to her, and I said, look, you know, she knows cars, just, you know, this is going to be an easy transaction. She'll be fine. If you could just help her set up the phone app, right? So she could at least hands-free me and talk to me on the way home. That would be good. Well, the guy at the dealership, I think he tried, but he didn't have any clue how to set up the phone. And one of the things that Kathy noticed when she was leaving the dealership was that she went to the maps page and punched in our address over here on Marco Island, which is about a 2 hours and 15-minute drive, and the map was just completely blank. There were no roads on it. There was nothing there. She couldn't type in, well, she could type in our address, but it didn't show anything. And so that was very strange. So I called Tesla to find out what was going on, and actually I asked Kathy to send me a snap of the car. Now the car's name, whoever named it, well, I know who named it, because this third-party dealership didn't clear out who owned it, didn't clear out his connectivity, like his contacts or destinations or anything like that. The car's name was the Future. And I'm thinking, okay, if this is the future and navigation doesn't even work, we got a lot of troubles in our world, you know? So the future was having some challenges with the present. And so I called Tesla, and they said that they could not establish connectivity to the car. And I also called Tesla because before I wanted to buy the car, I wanted to find out what the build sheet was. And Tesla said, well, you're not the owner of the car yet. I said, no, I'm not the owner of the car. I just want to know what the car has. What features does it have? Does it have full self-driving, right? Maybe it does. That would be a score. You know, maybe the previous owner upgraded to it. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even on the build sheet. But Tesla refused to give me the build sheet as a prospective buyer. So then they said, you have to call the dealer. So I called the dealer, and they called Tesla, and Tesla wouldn't give the dealer the build sheet either. So, you know, I was talking to my salesman. I said, can you see if the car has this? Can you see if the car has that? But, you know, that was a really strange thing. Now, I know that if you buy a car from a friend, you know, you'll be able to know exactly what the build sheet is on that car. Or if you buy it from Tesla, even if it's pre-owned, obviously they'll tell you what the build sheet is, but they won't tell you. Just be aware if you're buying a car from a third party. So that was really kind of frustrating. You know, the thing also, when Tesla told me that they couldn't establish connectivity to the car, I said, oh, maybe that's because it's inside. Now, this dealership that Kathy picked the car up at was a beautiful dealership, but it was big and it was vertical. It was in a city, and so, you know, there wasn't. Maybe it was inside and it couldn't get connectivity to, you know, to the cellular. So that was weird. So I asked Kathy to take a picture of the screen, and the screen said that the car had not been connected to the Tesla network for 9 months. 9 months. Now, meanwhile, I already own the car. The salesperson, you know, my guy is out for the day. I just said, Kathy, just drive the car home, use Waze, you'll figure it out, you'll get home. I'm sure it's something minor. Now, the modem that was in this car it said that it was a 2G, 3G, 4G modem. It listed the actual MCU, you know, the fact that it was the NVIDIA, the Tegra unit. I knew that it was the older MCU unit. I probably, I don't get Netflix with that. You do get fart mode with that, which is good, but which is important, and dog mode, which is really, those are the two most important features of any Tesla, let's be honest. But you can't get Netflix, and maybe I would upgrade, but I didn't think I would buy a car that had no connectivity. And seeing that the modem said 2G, 3G, 4G, I figured maybe the modem is just bad in the car. And so, look, I spent quite a bit of money for this car, and I'm all excited about it. And the whole beauty of Tesla is to have a connected car. I mean, it's a computer on wheels, and it's not even connected to the internet. So I tried to get Kathy to throw a hotspot off her phone and see if she could actually connect up. She couldn't figure it out, got frustrated. So yesterday, I actually went and threw a hotspot last night on my phone into the car, and the good news is that I was able to connect to the internet. I was able to download version 11 software. I was able to install version 11, and I now have connectivity in the car, and I'm running V11, which is great. So, and dog mode works fine. So I know that earlier in the video, Bailey was complaining that it didn't work, but it now does, pup. So you're good. Dad did a good thing. I was up late last night. Boy, it was a big install. And I actually have another message that I've got a navigation update that I'm going to install in a little bit here as well. But, the app now works, and what else works? The dog mode works, and I get the Spotify works, so all the digital music, the maps work, the navigation works. So I'm really happy that I kind of worked through that little kink. And again, had I bought this car from a Tesla dealership, there's no way, and call it a little bit amateur on my part, had I gone to pick up the car myself in Miami or wherever, I would have caught this. Kathy did such a huge favor for picking up this car. I have no complaints about it, but she just didn't know, right? But this is where I want to talk a little bit about the ugly. In my opinion, there is no excuse for a dealership to deliver a car, especially a Tesla, that is not connected to the internet, that is an older version of the software. Look, I know we're all in business, you want to make some money, but you've got to service your clients. You have to. And if you're going to take on a product like a Tesla, which is a relatively complicated product when it doesn't work, there's a lot of things that could affect why it's not working, then you need to take on the responsibility to have someone in your shop at least check that it's got the latest software, that you have erased all the contact information from the prior owner, that it's got maps, that it's got at least just connectivity up to the internet. Honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed in Tesla as well, because originally I flew into Fort Myers on Friday, took the day off from work, came down and met Kathy at the Fort Myers Service Center, knowing I had an appointment the next morning, Saturday morning at 9:30, because I had communicated to them that I wanted to upgrade the MCU to the new, whatever it is, is it the Intel Atom system? Well, so I went over there just to kind of talk to the guys over there. They were very nice, but they're like, look, we got a skeleton crew as it is, and on Saturdays we basically change wiper blades and tires, and no one's going to be here tomorrow to diagnose your problem. And so since you're going to be going back to Connecticut with this car by the end of the month, I'm going to be down here back in I have to fly back tonight to get back to work, but I'm going to be back down on Marco for a week in mid-August. I said, well, can we schedule an appointment for then? He says, there's no use, because there is a back order on these MCU2 units of months. So he said, you're best off just dealing with the car as it is today. Unfortunately, you don't have connectivity. The modem not working, then the map, it's all tied to the same thing. It's the MCU. And what I just proved last night by throwing a hotspot off my phone and upgrading, to the version 11 is they're flat out wrong at Tesla. All right, I now have connectivity. I now have maps. I now have digital music. When I talk about the ugly, what I really, and again, the dealership selling cars, I get that. But it's their responsibility to disclose if there's a problem with the car. And the problem with a dealership, maybe not all, and definitely not all, but the problem with a third-party dealership who's selling a Tesla, who doesn't either care or choose to learn about the product, they just don't know what they're selling. And so I caution you to go into buying a Tesla from a used or from a third-party vendor, but do it with eyes wide open. Now, I've got a lot of experience with Teslas, and I will work through this. I love the car. I think it's beautiful. It rides great. I'll work through this. I'm already working through this. The fact is, I should not have to work through this. And because of that, I'm a little bit mad. And now, there's a couple other things that happened with the dealership. There was no charging cable with this car delivered. So I called up my salesman, and he's like, "Oh wow, okay, sorry, good, great salesman, really took care of me." He said, "We'll send you a charging cable. I have it in my office. I'm out today. I'll put it in FedEx." They did. I got it. So I asked Kathy to open it up and show me what it looked like, and I'm like, what is that? It was. I said that is not. I recognize that. That's a European, three-phase Euro Spec electrical connector for the Tesla. Sure, it's a Tesla connector, but that doesn't work. So I called up my salesman. I was like, "Hey, listen, I don't know where you got this thing. There was no little J1772 Tesla to J1772 adapter or the other way around. That's okay. They're $50. I'll buy one. And I don't even think Tesla gives you one today when you buy a new car. I probably have one lying around somewhere in my house. I'd have to see. But so he calls his parts guy, and they start looking for an adapter. Like the end where you plug into the 110 on the wall outlet. That end was like the two prongs you see in the UK. And so he was buying an adapter for the end where it's two prongs into a 110. I said, first of all, that's only one of two ends, and the other end doesn't even fit into the car. And it's a three. I was just like, and then finally I just said, "Listen, guy, that's not going to work. Okay. I'm happy to send you back the Euro Spec cable, but that's not going to work for me." And so what did they do? They did the right thing, and they bought me a brand new US Spec 110 cable. Again, not with the J1772 and not with the 220 adapter. That's okay. So now I have the correct adapter. And so again, with this dealership, they're not doing anything malicious. They just really don't understand the car. And in my opinion, that's not good. So folks, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch another Out of Spec Dave video. I am super happy with this car. Just a little frustrated with what I have going on here. But you know what? I'll work through it. I always do. Model S 100D in my possession. For how long? I don't know. We'll see. This could be a keeper. Have a great day. Thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. Have a good one. Bye-bye.